Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ, and today I want to rank all the upcoming multiverse saga projects in terms of excitement. So for the people who don't know, the multiverse saga, as confirmed at San Diego Comic-Con, comprises phases 4, 5, and 6 of the MCU. I was originally going to make this video just ranking them based on excitement for phases 5 and 6, and I decided to put 4 in there because phase 4 is not over. We still have 2 big things left in this phase that I am going to throw in this list. And before I hop into it, I just want to say this list is entirely my opinion. Feel free to disagree. Actually, I encourage that, and let me know some of the projects you are most excited for or your ranking down in the comments below. Now let's hop into it. At number 17, we have Agatha, Coven of Chaos. This project feels like the most unnecessary thing Marvel has made, and granted, I obviously haven't seen it, we don't know anything about it. This could be super important, it could be one of the greatest things they ever put out, but I'm not betting on that. And hot take, I don't think Agatha was that interesting of a character in WandaVision. Catherine Hahn is the only reason that character is memorable in any way. And I am not someone who needs to see more Agatha. In fact, I thought her story ended in WandaVision. I thought it wrapped up in a nice way with her accidentally teaching Wanda how to defeat her and Wanda doing it. So I'm not exactly sure why we need this project. And the only thing that I'm interested in anyway is the prospect that Wanda Maximoff might be in this show, because I love Wanda. Every time I read the title or I hear something about it, I sigh and I'm like, why are we getting this project? And if I am bummed that we're getting something, it means it's going at the bottom of the list. Moving on to number 16, we have Captain America New World Order. I am very sad at how low this one is, but I just could not bring myself to put this higher. Actually, it was higher, and as I was writing up my notes for this, I started moving it lower and lower down. I don't love Falcon. I think he's fine, but he's not anywhere close to being one of my favorite characters. Same with Bucky, who will probably be in this. And I think The Falcon and Winter Soldier was an insanely disappointing show. The more I think back on it, the more stuff I don't really dig from that. And they're bringing back the writer from that show to write this movie. And if I had liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier a lot, if I thought it was really good, I would be much more excited for New World Order than I am. But the issue is, Falcon and the Winter Soldier did not end on a note that had me excited for more Captain America. Now, I will say that subtitle New World Order is very promising, giving the comic origin of that name and how it's a group led by Red Skull to take over the world. That opens several possibilities, but just based off what we know and the fact that the writer of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is back and the director of the Cloverfield Paradox is back, there's not much about this movie I'm looking forward to. Coming in at number 15, we have Ironheart. Now, it's funny, originally I was like, yeah, this is going to be like 16. The reason this is just above Captain America is because the 5 seconds or so that we saw of Riri Williams in the Black Panther trailer, Dominique Thorne did look good for the role, so that did at least interest me in the idea of this character. But this is so low for 2 reasons. One, Ironheart's just not a good character in the comics. And 2, this is one of those instances where they take a very popular character and gender swap it. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It can work. It can work out great. You know, look at Kate Bishop to Hawkeye. I love that. But they've done it with every single Avenger at this point that's like starting to get old. We got Thor, Mighty Thor. Captain America, Captain Carter. Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. Black Widow's the exception. Then we have Hulk, She-Hulk. Now we have Iron Man, Ironheart. It's like, just stop doing it. Number 14, and this is something that should be higher. This is something that I wish was higher. That's The Marvels. I really liked Miss Marvel. I think that was a great show. I love the character of Kamala Khan. And then the character of Monica Rambeau, I liked her in WandaVision, and both those characters want to see their stories continue. My issue, and the reason this is so low, is that Captain Marvel, the headliner of this movie, the leader of this team, is the most underdeveloped and unlikable character in the MCU. I absolutely despise this character. She's the worst MCU hero. I don't want to see more of her ever. I wish Thanos punched her head off in Endgame. That would have made me much happier. And the thought that that character is like the main lead of this movie doesn't get me excited. Now, I trust Nia DaCosta. She can, do what she wants. I bet she can make a good movie out of this. But it's a big uphill battle to make Captain Marvel a character that I want to see on screen. I also think it's way too early to do a team up between these characters. It feels like Monica Rambeau needs more development. It feels like we could use another season of Ms. Marvel. It seems like we could use another Captain Marvel movie before these three come together. It just seems too soon to be doing this storyline. And this movie has so much going against it that even the parts that I am excited about and I really like Monica Rambeau and Ms. Marvel, aren't enough to make me excited for this film. Coming at number 13, we have the soonest MCU entry, She-Hulk Attorney at Law. This doesn't look great. I've been saying that since the first trailer came out. Actually, before the trailer even came out, I was like, I don't know if I'm too interested in the She-Hulk thing. But then the trailer came out and I don't think this is for me. If this wasn't an MCU show, there's a very good chance I would not be watching She-Hulk. Now, granted, the second trailer was better and at least interested me, but the issue is that less than a month away from release, or like 21 days from this movie or something, and none of the marketing so far has actually excited me in this show. It seems like a cameo fest that's more focused on all these characters they can play with, that they're not focused on their lead character. You have Daredevil, who's the character I'm watching this show for. Abomination. Tim Roth coming back after 14 years. Hulk's in here. You got Frogman, Titania, all these just wacky little characters that they show in the trailer of like a guy who has superpowers who just jumps out of a window to leave work. The prospect of all these weird and fun characters that can show up seems like the selling point of this show, not the title character of the show. And that's going to be an issue that we're going to face in the next one on this list also. And I don't think any of the jokes look funny. The lines in the trailer to me, they are supposed to be humorous, but they're not. You have the thing like, damn, your ass looks great in that dress. There's nothing more upsetting than dating in your 30s. Let's get those fries to go. None of what they're saying is funny. And it's a comedy show. But coming in at number 12 is Echo. I'm actually surprised this one made it as high on the list as I thought, because initially I had put this at 16, but as I started to write out the notes for why everything was where, I moved Echo up a few notches. Echo was cool in Hawkeye. She was one of the best parts of Hawkeye. I enjoyed her character, but it seems like her story was completed in Hawkeye. I'm not sure where you're supposed to take her from here. She goes from a villain to realizing who the true masterminds were and getting her revenge on Kingpin. That's Echo's big storyline in the comics. So where are you supposed to go from here? It really does seem like her character wasn't meant to continue past Hawkeye, but Bob Chapek wanted more content for Disney+, so they're like, all right, well, we'll do an Echo show because we have this character here. And like I said with She-Hulk, the prospect of other characters showing up really seems to be the selling point of this show, and Echo might actually be doing it worse than She-Hulk looks to be doing it. Because Daredevil and Kingpin are literally the selling point of this show. We don't know anything about this show besides the fact that Daredevil and Kingpin are very important characters. Love these two. Daredevil's my favorite MCU hero. Kingpin's my favorite MCU villain, if you count that show as MCU canon. But I should be watching an Echo show for Echo. I should not be watching an Echo show for Daredevil and Kingpin. Yes, I know both of them are highly important to Echo's story, but it's the hype around these two characters. None of the leaks we have seen, none of the articles we've seen. Nothing we've seen on this show has anything to do with Echo. It's all about other people. But here's why this is higher up on the list than a lot of things. The lead writer on this show worked on Better Call Saul, and several people in the writer's room worked on Daredevil. So it's kind of hard for this show to be bad, because this writer's room is a master class in TV writing. So I feel like they have to try to make this bad. But I'm still very nervous about certain things regarding the fact that the title character does not seem to be the selling point of her own show, and I'm not sure what exactly they're supposed to do with her. Now, coming in at number 11, we have Thunderbolts. Now, I know a lot of people have this much higher, so it's probably weird that I don't have this in the top 10. We have great characters in the Thunderbolts. I love U.S. Agent. He was the best part of Falcon the Winter Soldier. I love Yelena Belova. I really like Abomination. I love Zemo. This is a group of great characters that, and the potential of the Thunderbolts to have like a political thriller story about this group of villains and anti-heroes who the government's using, that's a lot like Marvel's Suicide Squad, and the effect that can have on the world. When I think about Thunderbolts, I think of all the cool things they can do with Thunderbolts, and that's what puts it higher up on the list. And it's a team-up movie. The team-up movies are always great. Look at the Avengers movies, which we'll talk about in a bit. The team movies are always some of the best MCU movies, and while this is not an Avengers movie, it's basically the evil Avengers movie. So sign me the hell up for that. And the fact this is ending Phase 5 and we're ending it with the Thunderbolts kind of tying up this street-level story they've been telling since last year, it gives me hope that this is going to be a big deal. But here's why this is low. I don't know how I feel about the writer and director of this movie. Eric Pearson is the script writer on this, and the other two MCU movies I remember him writing, I had the same issue with. It's Thor Ragnarok and Black Widow. He wrote those. Both those, the main issue I have with both those movies is that they joke around way too often, and that they take a very serious concept and they ruin it with a joke. Black Widow's much worse at it than Ragnarok, but Ragnarok still does it. And I think those are two of the movies that are the reason why MCU movies always have to put jokes everywhere. And so I don't know if I like the idea of that happening with Thunderbolts, but what are you gonna do? And so that's why it does not crack the top 10. But coming into the top 10, we have Fantastic Four. I wanted to put this higher, but the 9 things above this, I just couldn't, I couldn't do it. I couldn't move them, so I had to move Fantastic Four to 10. It's the Fantastic Four. What's not to be excited about with the Fantastic Four? I mean, besides the fact that they've had, 4 movies previously. One was never released, but it was awful. One of them was fine, one of them was bad, and the other was Fant-4-stick. So hopefully the 5th time is the charm with the Fantastic Four, and Marvel can finally make a good one. I trust Kevin Feige, I trust Marvel Studios. If someone can make a good Fantastic Four movie, it's them. It's a great group of characters in the Fantastic Four. The place of this might rise or increase, we'll see. Because at D23 they might announce the cast and director, and that will depend. If the cast and director are good, this thing's shooting up. If I'm hesitant on some of the things they did, this could drop. This could roll down the street like a turd in the wind, as Venom would say. But really, what the most exciting thing about Fantastic Four is that with the Fantastic Four, you get Doctor Doom. One of the best Marvel characters, one of the greatest comic book characters of all time, one of the greatest supervillains ever. And who doesn't like Doctor Doom? And just the idea of getting Doctor Doom and knowing how crucial he is in the comics to stories like Secret Wars, which we'll talk about here in a minute, that just makes me so excited to see Marvel's first family come to the MCU. Moving on to number 9, we have something I wish I could put higher up, but there's one big reason I can't, and that's Blade. I love the first 2 Blade movies, especially the second one when Guillermo del Toro came in and he's like, oh, we're gonna do some stuff. I Love the first two Blade movies. I still have not seen Blade Trinity because I've heard it's god-awful, but I love those first two. Blade 2 is amazing. I love that movie so much. Now just thinking about it, I want to go rewatch Blade 2. So like, how do you not like Blade? Blade's such a cool character, and Mahershala Ali is not just a great actor, he's one of the best actors out there. 2-time Academy Award winner. He's the one who wanted to do Blade. He called Kevin Feige, he's like, please, let's do Blade, I want to be Blade. They're like, cool, you're Blade. So here we are. But here's my one worry with Blade. Besides Deadpool, Blade is the character that needs to be R-rated, I feel. I feel like to do Blade to his fullest, he needs to be R-rated. And this movie's not going to be R-rated. I just know it's not. Because they started shooting soon, the script has already been approved and whatnot. So unless they make a last minute change, they're like, yeah, you can have decapitations. This movie's not going to be R-rated. And that kind of sucks. I feel like it needs to be able to achieve its fullest potential. I'm just worried about them MCU-ifying and Disney-fying. But I love the character so much. And I love the actor playing him. So it's still very high up on the list. From here on out, everything here, I really don't have that. I don't really have negatives. I'll have like the occasional thing that I'm concerned about, but any of these could have been a contender for the top 3. But only 3 of them could make the top 3, so they're not all in the top 3. And kicking off the top 8, we have Secret Invasion. A political thriller starring Nick Fury is everything I want. That is such a great idea. I'm like, yes, we're getting a Nick Fury-led show with Ben Mendelsohn's Talos, who is the best thing in Captain Marvel. I could argue the only good thing in Captain Marvel. We get Maria Hill, who's another awesome character. We get Olivia Colman, who's a great actress. Emilia Clarke's thrown in there. There's so many awesome pieces. They're adapting the Secret Invasion storyline when Skrulls just embed themselves in every aspect of human society. And Kobe Smulders even said, in this show, we're going to spend the whole time wondering who's a Skrull and who's not. Oh yeah, War Machine's in there also. I think he's a Skrull. And so you have so many awesome components. You've got the thriller aspect, the mystery aspect. You've got a great batch of characters. There's not a single character here I don't like. So you might be wondering, John, why is this at number 8? Because it's 6 episodes. 6 episodes does not work. And I don't know if they can pull off Secret Invasion, which is a huge storyline with 6 episodes. That one thing brings it down. At number 7, we have Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. Yeah, I'm shocked that this is so low too. It's a new Avengers movie. Who doesn't love a new Avengers movie? Considering the 4 Avengers movies before this one, even Age of Ultron, I like them all. Granted, Endgame gets worse every time I watch it, but the first Avengers, Infinity War, love those movies, especially Infinity War. That's one of the best Marvel movies ever, not just MCU, ever. So maybe they can go 5 for 5 on Avengers movies. I'm hoping. But the Kang Dynasty has sort of been overshadowed by its sequel, Secret Wars, which we'll talk about soon, because Secret Wars is the bigger storyline. That's the one everyone is anticipating more than the Kang Dynasty. I'm one of those people. Kang Dynasty is cool, but the moment you announce Secret Wars, the giant multiversal event that brings all these characters together, and you put Battleworld in there and Kang and Doctor Doom, yeah, it becomes easy to forget that the Kang Dynasty is actually happening. Here's why I'm excited for this. Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi, is directing this movie. Jonathan Majors was great as He Who Remains. We're going to see him as Kang the Conqueror soon in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He's going to be the villain in that movie, judging by the title. And just the prospect of this time-traveling badass going against Earth's mightiest heroes, and judging by the fact there's another Avengers movie 6 months later winning, is beautiful. And I think maybe the reason this is lower is because I'm just not as attached or invested in these new characters as I was in the original 6 Avengers. There's some great characters. I mean, we got Shang-Chi, who's of course going to be on the team, right? I mean, just think about all these characters who they've introduced. A lot of great ones, but none of them are really living up to Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. Coming in at number 6 is Loki Season 2. I adored Loki Season 1. I think that was great, and I'm rewatching Moon Knight right now. And when I finish, we're going to see if Moon Knight has actually fallen and given the title of Best Show back to Loki, or if it still holds it. But I love that show. Besides one fine episode, it was exciting from beginning to end. I think the writing and the philosophical ideas in that show are what a lot of the Disney Plus shows are lacking. And it had so many great characters. Loki, always great. Mobius is a sweetheart. I really liked Sylvie. Sue me, I think I'm one of the few that really liked Sylvie. Even people like classic Loki, there's so many awesome characters they put in that show, and it all culminates with He Who Remains being there and setting up the multiverse saga and the cliffhanger from Season 1. That alone is enough to get me excited for Season 2 without all the other things that it has going for it. So, despite knowing barely anything about this besides a couple set photos, I cannot wait to see more Loki. Breaking into the top 5, we have a film that I never would have thought would be this high given how much I dislike the one that precedes it. That is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think the first Ant-Man's a good movie. I thoroughly enjoy that. Ant-Man and the Wasp is the second worst MCU movie. It's just above Captain Marvel. So I never thought I would be excited for the third one, given the fact that they're bringing the exact same people back who ruined the second one. But everything I've seen about this movie looks awesome. They're fleshing out the quantum realm. Finally, hopefully we'll get to see how it works. It looks like they're spending a lot of time in the quantum realm, exploring some of those cities in the quantum realm. We get to see Cassie suit up with Scott and Hope, and it's just going to be an ant fest down in the quantum realm. It'll be awesome. MODOK. Not even going to comment on his look. Just the character MODOK in general, I will say. Awesome. Kang the Conqueror finally being revealed in this movie. And that menacing line he gave in the trailer, asking if he's killed Ant-Man before, implying that he has killed so many people, he doesn't even remember who he's killed. And there was not, I did watch the leaked trailer, I couldn't help myself, there was not a single joke in the trailer. Basically what I'm saying is that February cannot come soon enough. But for a franchise called Ant-Man that is very hit or miss, I did not think that we would be getting MODOK and Kang the Conqueror as the third film in the trilogy, and to be excited for that film, never thought that would happen. But I cannot wait for this film to release. And at number 4, we have Avengers Secret Wars. It's Secret Wars. I mentioned it when I talked about Kang Dynasty. What's not to love here? A multiversal event. In the comics, though, it wasn't like every universe. It was just 616 versus 1610, which was the Ultimates universe. But collide universes, this multiverse event. Doctor Doom is there. I'm sure in the MCU, Kang the Conqueror might be more important than Doom. I'm not sure. But it has so much going for it. And this is one of those things also where it's the prospect of all these characters that can come back. Don't get your hopes up. Remember what happened with Multiverse of Madness. But just the prospect of what they can do and just thinking about the possibilities with Avengers Secret Wars make it so exciting. This is the one that's the other way around for me. Knowing nothing about this and getting to think about everything they can do and think back to the comics and think about everything they've done in the MCU so far and where they're going. That not knowing a thing about this movie, not knowing who's writing it, not knowing who's directing it, just knowing it's coming, already has me on the edge of my seat. There's not much to talk about because, like I said, we don't know everything. But it already has so much going for it. The fact that it's an Avengers movie, that's a very consistently good franchise. It's Secret Wars. We're getting Kang the Conqueror in this movie almost certainly. Probably Doctor Doom in this movie. The the only way you can culminate the multiverse saga is with Secret Wars. It has so much going for it already. I cannot wait for Avengers Secret War. Now, coming into the top 3, might be some picks on here that people are confused by. But at number 3, we have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I love Ryan Coogler. I love the first Black Panther. I love the characters of Wakanda. I love the trailer for Wakanda Forever. This movie looks epic and badass, but at the same time emotional and dramatic and so full of heart. This looks like a tribute to Chadwick Boseman by the people who knew him and loved him. Namor is, I can already tell, he's gonna be a great character. Some things they're doing in this movie with the flooding of Wakanda and the clashing ideals between Talokan, because it's not Atlantis, and Wakanda. And I mean, just Angela, there's like one line in the trailer, it's by Angela Bassett, and it's beautiful.
I am queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
I love Ryan Coogler as a filmmaker. I've still not seen Fruitvale Station, it's on my list, but Creed's great, Black Panther's great. Every time this guy talks just about anything, I love it. And I'm confident if someone can make this movie good, it's him. I am very cautiously optimistic about this movie given everything that happened around it, and I really hope it turns out good. It looks like it's going to be good, and I cannot wait for it. Now, number 2 and number 1, these probably could have gone either way for me, but there was one little thing that put the thing that's number 1 above the thing that's number 2. And number 2, we have Daredevil Born Again. I love Daredevil. I've already praised it a bunch in this video. It is my favorite TV show of all time. Daredevil's one of my favorite superheroes. That entire show, that entire world they created, I don't think it'll ever be touched by anything. And so, having Daredevil come back, played by Charlie Cox with Vincent D'Onofrio, they haven't confirmed it, but we'll probably get the rest of the cast in this show too. Yes, I'm on board. And the fact that this isn't a 6-episode event, it's an 18-episode first season, Kevin Feige said, meaning there's a chance of a second season. 18 episodes, finally breaking the 6-episode format. We're going to get an actual TV show with actual pacing that doesn't feel like a long movie. There is the worry that this might be too long. Born Again is a great graphic novel, although they did borrow a lot of Born Again elements for Daredevil Season 3, so I'm not sure what's left for Born Again. They'll figure it out. The only reason this isn't number 1, the only reason, is I don't know how I feel about the lead writers. They wrote Deck the Halls, and I wonder why they get the original showrunners back from Netflix to come do Born Again. But coming in at number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think I'm the only person on Earth who has this at their most anticipated, but I couldn't help myself. Everything about this movie looks great. I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I'm also the only person that likes the second more than the first one. The second one is in my top 3 MCU films. I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is incredible. I think both installments of this trilogy, both installments so far of this trilogy are incredible. And I trust James Gunn can knock it out of the park with Guardians 3. It's also worth mentioning with how long this movie's been in development and development hell. They've had so much time to make this perfect. The trailer they showed at Comic-Con that I've seen a few seconds of, it had the audience crying, it had the cast crying. Hell, it almost had me crying. And all I saw was a shot of Baby Rocket Raccoon. There's so many cool things in this. The High Evolutionary, I think he's going to be a good villain. I think this is finally where they crack the mold. Ego's a good villain. He's a good villain. But he's not an S-tier villain or anything. I think the High Evolutionary might be where they finally get a truly amazing villain for Guardians. Adam Warlock, finally. Great comic character. Will Poulter's been getting a lot of praise as this character, and the story they said they're doing with Adam Warlock, I'm already having a lot of fun with it, where they said he's essentially a newborn. So he's like a baby. He doesn't even know what he's supposed to do. Awesome. Just please don't turn him into a joke, James Gunn. That's my one thing. Please don't turn him into a joke. And this very emotional, complex, and deep story Star-Lord's on of the love of his life, not knowing who he is, already seems like it's gonna hurt. Seems like it's gonna hurt my soul. But the real thing that I know is gonna make me cry in this movie, that I knew we were gonna get one day, but I secretly hoped we would never see it, is the backstory of Rocket Raccoon. Bring tissues to this movie because those 2 shots we saw of Little Rocket in the trailer were so sad, and we're going to be getting his whole backstory in this. And it's nice that we know this is an ending, that this is the ending that James Gunn has always envisioned for this story, and it looks like it could be the best of the trilogy. I could not be more excited. This is some of the most excited I've ever been for an MCU film, and I just want May 5th to get here right now. Well, there you guys have it. That is my ranking by excitement of all the upcoming Multiverse Saga projects that were on the timeline. Obviously, there's the Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Holiday Special, but they weren't shown at Comic-Con. I'm just doing strictly what was on the schedule that Kevin Feige showed. So those 17 things, let me know your ranking, or at least some of your ranking, down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.